Welcome to the BMP Boxing Now podcast. I am your host, that dude named Dave, and sitting to my left but my right-hand man, Jorge. What's going on again?
Dave, good to see you, man. How's everything going?
Good to see you, man. We're going to talk a little about Jaron Ennis today. We're going to talk a little bit about Joe Smith. I think we might backtrack on a past episode about Teofimo Lopez fans. But before we get into that here, I want to tell everybody to click on like and subscribe, hit the bell notification below on YouTube. Hey, we are getting some new fans, new subscribers. So shout out to y'all, the 25 new subscribers on YouTube. Thank y'all. Go ahead and post, comment. Tell us what you like about the show. Tell us what you don't like about the show. We'll make it better. Okay. We're also on all audio podcasts, Apple and Spotify. Shout out to all the Apple listeners too as well for all the listens that we're getting on here. So BMP Boxing Now podcast. Also too, one more last thing, our affiliate on the Zingo TV app. We're on channel 249 and 250 on Spanglish Sports World. So shout out to Eduardo. Hey, Eduardo, got a new channel, man. How come you didn't tell us about that? We got to talk, man. Got 3 channels now. So they're doing big things over there in Spanglish Sports World there. So Jorge, how's your week been?
Week's been good. Been out in Domino World there playing my games and stuff. Had a tournament that I attended on a Friday. Partnered up with my co-host and took it down. So basically, so I am the inner circle of domino players that I play with. We all made to the final table. So we split the money 4 ways, but then we partnered. We always said, for bragging rights, let's go ahead up. And sure enough, me and my co-host took it down, came out on top.
Okay, cool, man. I need to get into dominoes, man. You've been talking about it for a hot minute. You got the podcast doing that there. I ain't played dominoes since my family in Michigan, and we used to get the bones going all the time, some bidwits and some spades. So I need to holler at you so I can get off the rusty schneid here. You know what I mean? Yeah,
no, the game's interesting when you play with partners and stuff. It's got a if you played enough poker, enough Texas Hold'em and stuff, it's got a there's some strategy to it. There's definitely a lot of deception, a lot of things you have to figure out with certain players and stuff, tendencies and everything. So it's a good game. It's a good game, a lot of fun. Very challenging, especially if you get the right mix of players and stuff. Always, anytime it's competitive, it's a blast.
Okay. Also, too, I almost forgot to. I just want to say shout out, not really a shout out, but a rest in peace to DMX. He passed away on Friday. He's had a rough going last several years, but also I say a hip hop icon, and not just hip hop icon. His music is some of the best ring walks for boxers. I've been checking out a lot of different old fights, especially with Tyson's very first fight out of jail in 1999. And he was coming to the ring and all you heard is those bells, doom, doom. And even then I was just like, Mike Tyson coming to some scary music. Oh my God. DMX. He wasn't the greatest rapper, but he just had that spirit, that emotion, and he had music for boxers. So I'm actually looking forward to like the rest of this year to see how many boxers pay tribute to DMX and see what songs they're gonna do ring walks to. But if you're a boxer and you're looking for a song to get you amped up, all you gotta do is go through the first couple of DMX albums. Actually, just the first album is Dark and Hell is Hot. And if you're a fighter, DMX is gonna get you amped to whoop some ass.
That was some great morning music, right? If you were never a morning person and stuff, but you needed kind of like that amped up music and stuff, kind of like that mental caffeine before you had that coffee on you. That's exactly what it was with DMX, man. Just raw and emotion. Not the greatest rapper in the world, but not the greatest lyricist, but man, it was good. He knew how to turn out a party. I mean, anybody that talks about DMX putting out a show, he knew how to put on a show. Man, and for DMX, I don't want to go too long about X, but he came out right in my senior year in high school, like when I was really into him. Like he was building, of course, first years by that, but he didn't blow till he was 27. I remember I was 17, and literally my first couple of years in college, man, the soundtrack, which is especially freshman year, Dark as Hell is Hot and Flesh of My Flesh. Oh my God, especially songs like Slippin'. Man, he had hits, and I thought he was really doing really good because they did the versus battle with him and Snoop several months back, and he was fat, and I was like, yo, this is good, for someone who's had drug problems like that, and to see how fat he was, I was like, okay, he's actually healthy right now, but his demons caught up to him. He had a heart attack, and people were hoping for him. I just know from my father how he had his heart attack, and they said he was out from like 30 minutes to an hour. So the fact that they brought him back,
And if he was alive for a few more days for his family, his kids to say their final goodbyes. So I just wanted to say that about DMX because he was someone who I rocked with heavy, like his movies, his music, everything, especially within the world of boxing. So, man, rest in peace to DMX.
I actually liked his acting career. He was actually pretty good in a few movies that, I mean, if you look at him, I mean, probably I won't say cheesy and stuff. Any movie he does with Steven Seagal is gonna be kind of cheesy.
Oh yeah, because Seagal can't act.
But the role he played was good though.
Right.
That I can rock. I can rock with the role that he played. He played it well.
I was talking to a few people and I'm like, yeah, he's not the best actor, but he played the role that was right. And also, when you think about it from his movie standpoint, he was probably, if not the biggest star in the world for like a 4 or 5 year period. When you think about it, because his first 5 albums went #1.
Yeah. His
first 2 albums went #1 the same year. He's the only hip hop artist to drop 2 albums within the same year and go #1. So, and in his movie career, like Romeo Must Die with Aaliyah,
yeah.
I mean, and actually that's one of Anthony Anderson's first major roles. He's been acting for a while, but he was a young Anthony Anderson in that one. Like you said, the Steven Seagal movies.
Yeah, with Jet Li, yeah, he was in that movie.
Yeah, Jet Li was in Romeo Must Die, and then of course he had, like I said, the movie with Tom Arnold with Jet Li in that one.
Tom Arnold, I think it was Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal's a different movie, I believe. They did that.
I forget the name of the title, and stuff, but it was one that's fresh in my head because it was basically he was out of character. What was his name? That was also on the Rough Riders label and stuff.
Talk about Dragon?
Yeah, Dragon was on there as well.
He did a couple movies with him. Yeah,
exactly. Yep.
Matter of fact, you know what though? There was another movie that DMX did with Dragon and with Gabrielle Union where they were like jewel thieves, and he was like,
I think Belly or something. Was it?
No, Belly's the first one. Belly's the hood class. That was
Belly was a hood class.
Yeah, that came out in '99. But there was a movie he did with Gabrielle Union and Dragon, and he was trying to save his daughter, and they're like jewel thieves. I can't remember. I mean. That I actually like. I can't remember the name of that one, but the best movie for me was Belly because that was my freshman year in college, and this is me really jogging my memory here about old school here. I remember my freshman year, and I drove to Blockbuster Video to rent it. The VHS cassette. I remember I went early on a Tuesday because Tuesdays were the days that the new stuff dropped, and I had an early class day. I went there like I was at 10:05 and cop Belly and watched that. So. Love Belly.
Yeah, I had the soundtrack. That album was actually really good. The soundtrack, every track on there was good. I now remember her name is Mendez. That was also on that movie with Seagal and
Oh yeah, Eva Mendes. Yes. Oh wow.
A young Eva Mendes at the time, early in her career as well. So that's another one.
Yeah, man. So man, he was only 52. So rest in peace, X, man. The fact that they had the career that he had and how humble he was. Oh, one last thing too. I have seen X in concert. Really shaped me. It was the Hard Knock Life tour. Method Man and Redman opened up. Then it was DMX. Then it was Jay-Z.
Nice.
And just to let people know who was actually there at that concert, if that tour from 1999 to 2000, Method Man and Redman killed the show so much you could just left at that point. And I actually went to the show and Redman got stuck in the rafters when he was hanging off the ceiling.
Like Method Man,
so if you Google that, I was actually at that show with my cousin. And then after they performed, DMX came and did his prayer and just smashed it. X killed it so hard that when Jay-Z came out, I didn't rock with Jay-Z that night. Jay-Z was so far down his energy, everybody's ready to go home.
Yeah, I mean, Method Man and Redman were at the time notorious. I mean, Method Man was rocking with Wu-Tang at the time, but I mean, so did Redman as well, and they rocked on their own shit together, and they were good. No, they were good together and stuff. I mean, their album was actually excellent. Anything they've ever done together, video-wise, any collaborations on an album, excellent. Always excellent stuff. So I'm not surprised that they hyped up the crowd that good that by the time DMX gets there, I mean, Jay-Z gets in there last, and it was to me it's a letdown.
It was so up. I mean, like Method Man and Redman came and it was just like this, and it was just straight energy. And then by the time you were done, like, man, he was like, yeah, you could have left. He was like, oh my god. And then X came and he did it and I was like, oh my god, it was just lighters up, blunts were getting lit up, and it was at I think it was still the Allstate back then. Where we went to, and then it's like almost 2.5 hours of this straight energy with Meth Red and DMX. Then when Jay-Z came, it's the Hard Knock Life tour. It's Volume 2 album. So he didn't have those hits like that. That were like that, yeah. Because X was just running around the stage and he took his shirt off and it was like my dogs. It was just on. And Jay-Z, it's like big.
Yeah, he comes back, let them mellows down. He goes to his set on Volume 2, and it's not as amped up as the
right. We have Big Pimp, and that's cool, but when X is doing what type of games getting play what's going on. You know, I was like, man, everybody just lost it. So dope live performer, dope actor, dope person. Like I said, he had his problems, but he never lied about it. He showed you who he was.
Yep.
He knew he was fighting and battling, and even when he had his issues, he come back. But unfortunately, it's the end, and we all have our time clock. So rest in peace to DMX, man.
Yeah, rest in peace. And I want to give a shout out to one of my good friends I grew up with, Will. He sent out in a group text so if you'll find on YouTube all sorts of different mixed videos and stuff, a lot of meme themes and stuff like that. So he sent me the Reading Rainbow DMX combo, and I'm like, dude, everyone knows it's too soon, but it's like it was. You couldn't help it. So I'm like, let me listen to this. I forget it.
I love. No, that's the best thing about X. I keep saying we're done, but if you get a chance, Google him singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah,
he's at the radio station in New York. I think it's the Breakfast Club or Power 105, and then he starts, what? And he gets the beat like, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. What? Yep. Oh man, if you get a chance, pull that up. It's a 1 minute of, man, you just can't help but smile.
Reading Rainbow, talk is cheap, mother.
So rest in peace, DMX. So now we're going to get into some real boxing stuff here. Real fast. Once again, thank you to the new fans. 25 new subscribers on YouTube. I mentioned at the beginning, but we see you on here. Thank you very much. Same thing for the Apple listeners as well. So with that in mind, we had some fights this weekend.
Yes, we did. Two fights happened.
Yeah. ESPN and Showtime had fights.
Yeah, let's cover this. This should be real quick. Let's cover this one here. Joe Smith versus Vlasov.
Yeah, Joe Smith, man. Talk about someone who I thought was going to have a bigger career, but luckily enough, though, that he's still around and he's getting his roses right now. He's the man who retired Bernard Hopkins. I wish I would have queued it up, but I don't want to get killed with some YouTube copyrights. Maybe another episode.
Another episode. We did that.
But what was it about 4.5 years ago, give or take, he fought Bernard Hopkins, and he didn't just beat Bernard Hopkins. He not only just knocked Bernard Hopkins out, he knocked his ass out the ring, through the second rope, into the table, into the TV, and landed on his neck on the floor that ended his career.
Yeah, Hopkins went out on his shield, literally out the ring.
Oh my God. And is it me or that whenever you see all-time greats go, they normally get beat by not a great guy. It's always a guy that's a decent fighter, but they never take that next step up. So to see Joe Smith win a title this weekend, oh man, it's like, okay, kind of happy for him, because you don't want to see that. You see Bernard Hopkins, like, you don't see him lose to just anybody,
Yeah, that kind of reminded me of what's the other, now that we're talking about fight scenarios like that, Alfonso Gomez and Gotti.
Okay,
that's very similar as well. That was Gotti's last fight.
When Gotti
Gomez was just coming up
on HBO. I remember they was trying to pump Gomez up, and he had his issues too. He got his first loss, and that was it for him, wasn't it?
Yep.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, I'm glad you on this show. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, but Joe Smith won. I wouldn't say it's controversial, but a debatable split decision. It's not controversial. It's debatable.
Well, the majority decision, the one judge had it a draw and stuff. So here's my take. Right? So I didn't get a chance to watch the fight the day of, but I get a chance to watch it today. And I at first glance, first rip through it, I thought Vlasov won. I thought Vlasov won the fight.
Okay.
And here's where I think you'll probably agree with me on this. Ring generalship. Mm-hmm. When you're basically fighting your style, your pace, 90% of the fight, 80% of the fight, I think to some extent you should deserve to win more rounds that seem a little bit closer. When you got Smith already cutting his eye by the third round, and basically you're drawing and countering, and you're going aggressive to the fighter. Mm-hmm. And Smith's a bigger guy. Let's not kid a guy. Smith is the bigger guy, but Vlasov was the more active fighter. Way more active fighter.
Yeah.
And I thought Vlasov won that fight like 2 rounds at least. I thought it was like a 116, 114, 113, I think maybe 115, 113 at the least. But no, definitely the draw, the worst case scenario. I didn't think for 1 second he lost that fight. And I think for 2 rounds, Smith had him. Smith almost knocked him down. I think it was in the 5th or 6th round, if I'm not mistaken. And then the other half of the fight. So the first half of the fight, he got one chance to knock him out. And in the second half, he had another chance to do it. But he looked out of shape. He looked winded after he would spend all his energy trying to knock him out. Mm-hmm. And I thought Vlasov won the fight. That's what I think. So I think we talked about it in our pre-meeting. I think home field advantage played a case in this.
Yeah. How do I really want to state this here? Like I said, there's rounds that I go back and forth on that I can see Smith winning, and then I go back and I see the other guy winning. You know, it was really, really tough to gauge. And like you said, ring generalship does matter a lot. I value that a lot, actually. You know, like this is your style, then you dictate your pace, and then from there, then how are the punches landed and blocked from there? Like the dance is set by the style of whoever dictates, you know, the show, basically. You know, so I agree with you on that. You know, it's one of those fights where that, you know, if they gave it to the other cat, I'm like, okay, he got it, and Joe Smith got it, like, okay, I'm not mad. You know, sometimes we have fights like that you know, one side could see it one way and the other side see it the other way. And there's times where, like, literally I could watch it tomorrow and I'm like, yeah, Joe Smith probably lost 115 to 113. I would not be shocked if it was a draw at 114-14. I would not be mad at that as well. So, you know, I mean, I was more focused on the other fight. Like, I literally wanted to watch that other fight. So when I was watching this one, I can tell that I was a little off. I was happy for Joe, but I really wanted to watch the other fight.
Yeah,
personally.
So this fight, it actually was a lot more entertaining than maybe I expected and stuff. All
True.
12 rounds.
It was entertaining.
There was a lot of action all 12 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was no layoff period. There was no round where, you know, they're both taking it off or one was taking one round off or vice versa. Now they you know, Vlasov pressed the action all 12 rounds. That's kind of the reason why I'm like, you know what? I think he should have won the fight. It was his style, his pace, and I mean, outside of maybe 2 rounds, Smith didn't do enough for me to change the complexion of the fight. I thought it was Vlasov the whole way. So
I was looking for something to see who's green with you here, and Bad Left Hook actually had it 117-111.
Yeah, and that's
because when you were saying that, I literally wanted to look that up really fast. Like, wait a minute, who else felt Jorge the way that you were saying?
Ward had it 114, 114 on the fight during fight night, or on the broadcast booth. ESPN on the site themselves had a 115, 113 for Vlasov. So I think if you look around the boxing forums and stuff, I'd be hard pressed to find anybody who thought Smith won that fight.
Not hard. Yeah, like I said, if someone said 115, 113, and they showed me the rounds, I'd be like, okay, I'm not gonna fight you on it. You know, it's like that. But if someone said 116, 112, I was like, hell no, 8 rounds. No, I can see 6-6. I can, you know, like that. But shout out to Joe Smith. He got a title now. You know,
good for him and stuff. But
sucks for Vlasco.
It leaves a bad taste in my mouth as a boxing fan and stuff. Because at the end of the day, I mean, when you walk away watching an action-packed fight and stuff, and you see the fight when your eyes sell you one thing, and you get the result of a complete other, leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So I would say, I honestly, I'd hope they rematch it right away or something, because I thought Vlasov deserved that fight. And I think Joe Smith, for his career, or at least to raise any doubts, needs to probably have to give him the rematch. Has to do it.
What you say has to and want to is going to 2 different things. That is not it. This is the let me put you on game, Jorge. I thought we've been doing this one too many times here. This is boxing. There is not no run back for a dude named Vlasco. This is ESPN. This is Top Rank using ESPN Plus. There is no running back for a dude named Vlasco. I'm sorry. And I know I mispronounced his name. I'm being bogus on purpose.
You butcher names on purpose.
I did it on. Know why? Because this is Norman boxing. He's not a name. He is not a guy that's affiliated with a high power broker promoter who's been putting all his money into him, saying that we're gonna run this back. No, Bob Arum ain't gonna run this dude back. There's no money in this. There is no money for ESPN or Bob Arum. No, agree. So I understand. Like, yeah, like he should get. You know, shoulda, woulda, coulda. You know, but it's the boxing game, man. You fight hard and valiant, but you know what though? Your ass on the next plane ticket back home, you lose.
I think moving forward with Joe Smith and stuff, right? If he ain't giving him a rematch and stuff, questionable guy moving forward to me.
Well, no, because he got bigger fish to fry. That's how it goes. Even if it's debatable, you keep it moving, baby. KIM.
Yeah, well, keep it moving, and
and what's keeping it moving is a possible unification fight.
Yeah, and he'll lose that one.
You know, so was it Arthur Betterbeef? Yeah, he has the IBF and the WBC belt as well.
Yeah,
and so Joseph had the WBO belt. So they're already talking the fact that he just fought recently, and they ain't got no other plans right now. 175 is not a hot division. You know, it's kind of reestablished itself again. Canelo dipped in and dipped out. You know, he won that belt, and today I'm back to 168. So it looks like Bob Arum is going to go ahead and say, hey, we're going to run this unification fight. So you literally could have a 3-belt holder in light heavy before the end of the year, because it's only April right now. They're already talking about running this back. I'm like, not running it back, but him fighting the next 4 or 5 months, possibly. ESPN is very interested in this unification fight.
Yeah, they're interested in the unification fight. We'll see. Like I said, we'll see when it comes up and stuff. I think it's one of those things where Joe Smith came out here a little bit more impressive. I'd be more amped up for the fight. After this fight, I'm feeling Arthur beats him.
Oh yeah, I think he's the better light heavyweight anyway. You know,
yeah,
he had a hard fight. Was it 2 weeks ago? He fought 2 Saturdays ago?
more like a rust, trying to get the rust out type of fight. So that's where the challenge kind of lied in and stuff. And I think he maybe kind of took a foot off the gas a little bit on purpose to get some rounds in and stuff. He didn't feel like he was in any danger of losing that fight, and you can see during that fight he was comfortable. He was comfortable in the situation. So let's just say the last half of that fight was more of a sparring match.
Yeah. So we'll see when ESPN wants to set up this major unification fight. Some unifications are in the pipeline this year, but yeah, shout out to Joe Smith. You can tell how enthusiastic I am about that fight.
Like I said, I wanted to be more enthusiastic about the unification fight if he actually came out and did a better job winning that fight, made a more convincing argument. Other than that, it's like you didn't. So to me, if you're not running that rematch, all right, just hope you're happy to hold the belt for another couple of months and then poof, gone, bye.
So at least that Hopkins not retiring to a guy who never won a title. That's why I look at it. I just don't want to see a great and then like who he lost? He's like, Joe, who the hell is Joe Smith? And then he's like, and you look at, oh, Joe Smith was a former title. Oh, okay, cool. I don't want to see dude get knocked out the ring by nobody, man.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? So when you got knocked out by
Long Island's own, first of all, he's not a nobody. So shout out to my Long Island cats in New York. So I didn't want to disrespect y'all.
Yeah, good thing you did that.
Yeah, I gotta go to. I'm going to New York soon, so I just don't want my people in NY to be like,
wait for him at the plane, wait for him at the gate.
Be like, hey, yo, we just lost D. Chicago about to lose you, Dave. I'm like, hey, okay. So I don't want to disrespect my Long Island people. But.
Yeah. Like I said, because Smith didn't give a good convincing fight and stuff. So it's hard for me to get amped up for a unification fight that now I feel like it's gonna be more one-sided at this point. So so like I said, either run it back or you're basically holding the belt for a month or 2.
He's not running it back.
I'm saying either run it back or just hold the belt for a couple months and then lose it. That's it.
Well, A is out the door.
Then B is going to happen.
So let's go to the next fight that I was actually excited about because it's the welterweight division. We love the glamour division in the welterweights, and this is Ennis coming out party, man. Plain and simple. I'm actually gonna post this in the edited video so you can probably see. I actually wanted back in December when we first started doing our podcast, I had him as my prospect of the year. Didn't get a chance to watch a lot of him up to that point. Because he's under Al Heyman's stable to a degree, and he hasn't had the step of fights you see in normal TV for an up and coming guy has. But he showcased and showed out Saturday night. He was a Lipinets. I can never really pronounce his name.
Sergey Lipinets. He is a guy who former 140-pound title holder, and also is a guy whose only loss was to Mikey Garcia. So if you think about a guy who's battle tested, he's someone that guys don't want to fight. Like he's not a champion. He's that guy right in the cusp that on a bad night he could beat a champion. And Jaron just said no. You ain't even in my league, son. Stopped him in the 6th round. Every round was a showcase for Jaron. I mean, the first round was the fill-out round, went to the body. Second round, started headhunting a little bit, giving a little taste of different combinations. Third round, started adding more pepper to his punches, started putting, really stepping into his shots. Fourth round came, was like, all right, time to put this guy away. He started throwing combinations in bunches. He started putting his foot on the pedal. 5th round came, went to straight southpaw. 6th round, cancel Christmas, man. So I just had to do a quick rundown of the fight. But what do you think about Jaron Ennis, man? He is a bigger Crawford. He's basically where Crawford probably ends up in his career, maybe finishing off at junior middleweight, junior welterweight. Junior middleweight, my fault. And then I think Ennis probably ends up finishing his career somewhere in middleweight and stuff because he came in looking pretty big, looking pretty huge.
Man, didn't he look huge?
He looked like he belonged at 154 already.
Wow.
So
maybe 160. I know he hydrated. He looked like close to 160. That was, he was big.
Yeah, he was like Paul Williams type activity with definitely a Crawford type style of fighting and stuff, and the Crawford side because he basically switched stance on him multiple times, and I was really more impressed. His footwork was great. I mean, he looks like he's fighting from long range. All his punches are coming from long range, but you see where a lot of his footing was at, and they ended up being really more medium range punches and stuff. And you see a lot of what you call what I would see like uppercut, like hook uppercut types. Mm-hmm. He's basically trying to hit an angle. He's not trying to hit a straight hook going across horizontally. He's not trying to go with an uppercut going vertically down up. He's basically saying, I'm going to come at you at this angle, and it's basically a hook uppercut. And he was able to do it on both hands, switching stances on top of it all, and they look long, but they're not that long. They're actually just within his range where his power's at. Great, short, crisp punches. His medium range punches were dead on perfect. So that third round was excellent. That fourth round was a masterpiece of a combination of power punches while switching. I mean, it was excellent. So I definitely I'm high on him. I just don't know what's going to happen with the welterweight division because right now it's a little stagnant right now. Outside of Pacquiao and Crawford having a fight coming up hopefully in June, it's a little stale right now.
I would describe that his body type is like just a hair smaller than the Charlo twins.
Yeah, that's also pretty comparable.
He is that big. The difference is that the Charlos are 6'1". He's like 5'10", 5'11". He's only like 2 inches shorter than them, but he has a longer reach than them. He has a 74-inch reach. Yeah. Now, let me just explain to people here how long that is. Floyd Mayweather has an unquestionably long reach for 72 for a guy his size at 5'8". That's why one of the reasons why Floyd is so dominant, because of the fact that his speed, but having that long reach, when he threw his lead right or his jab, you weren't getting that airspace. So when he popped you were scared to getting caught because of that speed. So with Jaron Ennis, you're throwing another 2 inches on that. He's bigger. He just has this bigger bust size. His chest was freaking massive. By the third round, Lipinet's face looked like he'd been in a 9-round fight. Yeah. And the first round dedicated to the freaking body, man. I was literally looking. I had to rewind back the tape. I was like, wait a minute here. Wait, how many times did he get hit in the face? Why? He was puffy. He was red. And you can tell that the starch was out of him by the end of that third round. You can tell him he was walking back to the corner. I was like, he's done. He's just fighting on pride right now, So
let's talk about this a little bit here. Trajectory and stuff for the rest of his, for the rest of the year, right? So we've seen him maybe fight once or twice more before the year is over. I mean, what do you see coming up for this year? Who he could be possibly fight? Who we would want to see him fight? I know there's one name we talked about wanting to see him fight because it'd be kind of interesting. But then moving on from there, what do you think it looks like?
See, here's the thing that bothers me about the fight that he gave. See, he didn't do this fight against a nobody or like another up and coming prospect. He did this against a former title holder who all the guys he fought, it was battles. Mikey Garcia, that's the only time that he was actually down his career against Mikey Garcia. Garcia put him down for the first time, but he's fought guys and it's been wars back and forth where that man, if you didn't bring your A game, he was hurting you. So he's scared guys this weekend. Like first you see this kid and he's like 74-inch reach. This guy's going to be a junior middleweight, a big young kid, whatever. And then you see him destroy a former title holder like that. And it's like, wait a minute. So off the rip, everybody knows I'm a big Errol Spence fan. And he is not fighting Errol Spence, even though they're fighting basically under the same banner. I hate to say this. I'm not even dogging my boy Errol. I just do not see him taking that kind of gamble right now. He's going after you guys the next few months here to get his third title. After that, then I mean, who would he want to? Who would he fight? I don't see him fighting against a young guy who got no credentials. I actually would see him fighting Thurman before he'd fight him. It's just too dangerous to fight for Spence right now. So that sucks for me right now to see that. So who's next? Who has the other belt? Bud Crawford. That's not happening right now because that's Top Rank. And of course, it's PBC. He's on Showtime right now. And so we don't see that happen. If anything, Bud would fight Virgil Ortiz first before he fight a young guy like that. Because we just saw Ortiz just recently.
And how Crawford and Spence were both there while his fight against Hooker.
So we saw that showcase right now, right? And plus, Virgil Ortiz has been getting a more push under Oscar than Jaron Ennis beginning that push with Al Heyman and PBC. He's still young and they've been moved, even though he's 27-0, you even heard the fanfare about him right now, right? So I threw away all the title holders right now, right? So who could he fight next? Thurman thirsty as hell. He's been calling Spence out and everybody for a fight, and he can't get one because everybody's pissed off at Thurman for the way he treated everybody when he was title. Yep. He fought once or twice a year. Let me just say this right here for people to understand that I am not dogging out Thurman for not being a good fighter. He's a damn good fighter. He's not great. I reserve great for certain people. Manny's great. Floyd's great. Andre Ward's great. Guys like that, right? He's good. But you can't act like you're Floyd or Manny Pacquiao and then dictate these terms, and then you don't fight these guys. You have all these injuries. You come back, and now you wonder why no one wants to fucking fight you. You know what I'm saying? You burned your bridges. No one want to rock with you right now. You got to rebuild yourself. So would Thurman fight him? If he's thirsty, but I don't think he's that thirsty. Who's next? Man, let's go down the list here. I had a list here. Okay, here we go. Manny Pacquiao? No. You ain't finding Manny. We already know what Manny's going. Let's just throw Manny out the door. He ain't happening here.
What about Porter there?
Sean Porter is the only name that I see.
That'd be entertaining. It'd be entertaining.
And not even next. Not even next. I could see Porter next year. Because Porter is still angling for the top fights right now. He's not looking to fight a guy who just barely, not saying barely, he just broke the top 10.
Sean would rather do broadcasting at this point and wait for that opportunity at this point instead of taking a risk right now. This is a risky fight. Yeah. This is a risky fighter for any of the top guys.
Let me just put it out there. Sean Porter, a thug. He'll fight anybody. I'm going to put it out
Porter
there.
will do it. Porter will do it. But I think you're right, though. I think he'll wait to see what the outcomes look like, to see if there's any opportunity for a big fight. And if he can't land any of those big fights, then possibly, right? I could probably see it maybe like at the end of the year.
Let's keep it 100 here. I could see here's where Porter's gonna react right now. I could see Porter fighting Thurman again, because that could be a big money fight for him. He tried for Manny, and of course, Manny's going a different direction. I could see him waiting out and getting his rematch with Spence. Spence could beat you. Remember, there was literally talk about being run back between Spence and Sean Porter. And it didn't happen because, Manny got stripped of his title. And then when that happened, then Spence went the direction of trying to go for another unification here. Yeah. So I could literally see Porter waiting out and getting Spence by the end of the year to do another rematch on that, because he's ranked in the WBC side. He could push for Bud Crawford, but we see what Bud's doing right now. So Porter's angling for a title fight, and then I could see him doing the balls of I haven't paid him enough money to go ahead and get in the ring with him, to put this young stud back if he could put him back. But when I look at this top 10, like I'm actually looking at Bad Love Hooks rankings right now. I'm not going by ESPN rankings. Like Mikey Garcia ain't touching him, man. Mikey Garcia would get stopped. As much as Mikey Garcia is a good fighter, welterweight is too big for him, and this guy's bigger than Spence.
Exactly.
That's not happening. And so like Virgil Ortiz, I was mentioning earlier, like Virgil Ortiz would be like back in the day, you would see fights like this where the young prospects or they're not a prospect, they're right on the cusp of being that championship caliber fighter, and you would see those two young guys fight. You in the 80s and early 90s, you would see fights like this all the time. Yep. You don't see it now because that loss is detrimental. You lose this fight, you're going way back down. It's by 2 or 3 years before you can build yourself back up. So, and on top of that too, that's Oscar's fighter, and it's Al Heyman. No, Oscar ain't gonna work with Al Heyman like that.
Yep. So here's
Danny Garcia, but he's going to 154. But Garcia will get put in retirement. I think the way he looked against Spence, Ennis is young and don't care. There's ignorance in him where he will see Garcia and say, "I am not Spence," and I will just hurt him.
So let me see this. So if we're looking at 147 and we're not seeing any real potential fights upcoming stuff, what do you think of this prospect of him maybe even dabbling between 147 and 154?
Nope.
Because I think I can see him doing both.
Nope. Know why I say that? Because they already got a game plan for him. He's not going back and forth. He's not going to jump like that. He's going to play the Al Heyman card, and he's going to take the fights that's going to be there. So he's going to probably fight another. He'd probably fight a top 20. Since these I listed top 10 welterweights, he's not going to get in the ring with this year. He's going to fight someone in the top 20, anywhere from 11 to 20 ranked guys, 1 or 2 more times this year. 154 is not happening. He's gonna do those fights, and then eventually Spence is gonna go to 154. He's gonna have 3 belts before to sometimes out. Spence is gonna lose one of those belts if he don't fight Crawford. It's gonna get stripped eventually. So I say by next year he gonna angle for a fight. Spence dumps a belt or 2, and then he's gonna fight for a vacant title. But he is. They have talked about him settling at welterweight. Reason why I'm gonna firmly disagree on junior middleweight, because you have those guys there, but it's not a money division. And Heyman has guys there that he's not trying to put together to ruin the nest egg up. He's got one Charlo brothers about to go for all 4 belts there. You know what I'm saying? And so he's not going to get a Charlo brother. He's going to have all the belts. He is not getting that fight right now. That's not going to happen. You know, he is going to stay at welterweight for at least 2 to 3 years. That's the game plan for this kid. And so when you're Al Heyman and you got the Charlos, and then you're going to have Errol Spence go to 154. He ain't gonna, if he can't get Spence at welterweight, he's not gonna get Spence at 154 when that happens. So who's left at 154 then? If he goes there, then he's not gonna fight a guy like Lara. Lara wouldn't take that fight probably because you know that if he gets stomped by this kid, that's it for him. You know, there's so many older guys that would not take this kind of fight. So for him and what they've already talked about, he's young and they're going to groom him at welterweight until he can't make welterweight no more.
I think what's going to happen at welterweight, and right now he's 23 years old. I wanted to confirm that. I was looking at my phone, just double checking to get his age correctly. So him and Virgil Ortiz are both 23 years old and stuff. So I tend to agree with what you're saying right there with the game plan and stuff. I've been saying things for like the longest time and stuff. When a lot of the welterweights all signed up with PBC and Al Heyman and stuff, I've hated the way some of the hunger out of, like, say, of a Danny Garcia, who had a lot of hunger before he joined the PBC, just kind of like went out the window.
No, let me correct you. He didn't join the PBC. He's always been there. See, I just want to make sure he's always been there because Al Heyman's always been Al Heyman. It's just the way the top part is the promotional as a golden boy, and then it turned to PBC. So I just wanted to correct you on that because because someone might say he's always been with Al Heyman.
Agreed. But I think those details are minute in this example. I'm not saying they're not wrong. I'm just saying. And
let me just say this too. These guys this past era just follow Floyd Mayweather. They thought they can. It's not the PBC. It's these guys. They fought 2 times a year, make huge purses, and then they got static because they weren't repetitious, and then they weren't fighting.
And that's what I worry about. And that's what I worry about with you.
So that's not PBC. That's just the top guys doing what they're doing, following Floyd.
I agree, but I also think that's what's going to probably happen with Enos. If he ain't fighting if he fights one more time this year, but. To me, like, he's young enough, he should be fighting 3 times this year.
He's fine. He got 27 fights already in his career at 23.
Okay.
I mean, no, he's at 28 because he has 1 no contest in December.
Yeah.
So he has 28 fights already. So he's active. Yeah, he's getting to working. It's just what we're talking about is, will he get a title fight against the top guys?
And that's what I'm saying. So by the time he actually gets to a point where it might be a title fight, right? So like I say, he's 23 right now. So when do you think will be a first title fight? Be like 25, right?
The earliest, see, it's April right now, and he was considered a prospect of the year this past year. So knowing the landscape, he'll probably get a title fight next year, or depending on how Al Heyman does it, since it's only April, he'll have 1 more fight. I know at least this year. Then maybe he angles for an interim title. But if he angles for an interim title, that means that it's going to be an interim against Errol Spence. So that's why I'm saying that I do not see him even fighting for an interim fight until maybe early next year. He's going to get at least 1 more fight in, and then that next fight will be after that to be another top 10 guy, hopefully, and then by 2021 we'll see him making strides if he doesn't fall off.
And that's where I get annoyed because I kind of wish he was already kind of like I said, possibly lining himself up to get to a point where he can start fighting somebody within the top 10 instead of fighting the lower half of the 20, basically. That's where I'm getting at, because to me he looked good enough, really damn good, that you have to agree. At some point, he should already be looking to start fighting guys within the top 10, not the bottom half. And that's the part where
he would want. I would love his
first.
I would love his next fight would be anybody in the top 10. It's just the fact that you're not going to get these guys in the ring. What he did is classic boogeyman syndrome. You beat a guy who guys normally don't want to fight. Like, okay, no one wants to fight Sergey Lipinets. He's a guy that he could beat you at any given night. He comes and it's in your chest, and he's going to give you 12 hard freaking rounds. You know, he's a guy that you don't want to be in a ring with unless you have to be. And then the fact that he just destroyed him in 6 rounds.
So you transfer boogeyman status from one person to another. But
this is worse though because he's bigger, taller, longer, younger, and just as fast or faster than every welterweight out there. Let's just keep it on, like 23 years old. All the top besides Virgil Ortiz ain't younger than him, right? Who has a 74-inch reach? No one. Who's bigger than him? You know, like Spence is the closest guy I could say that as size wise but he's small, but he's bigger than Spence. So you got bigger, longer, taller, stronger, and he's a young kid who's just like he's green and ready. Okay, man, you want to wait that kid out as long as possible.
So say this year, if he's fighting twice this year, one of these 2 fights, how do you feel about Adrian Broner with him?
Oh, Broner ain't taking that fight.
Then I think this is not on like Al. This is just
Broner being you had to pay Broner $10 million for that one.
And this is why I get annoyed with.
And here's the thing too, that's a mismatch. As much as
I agree with the mismatch, I believe to me Enos is a mismatch for anybody to me in the bottom half of the 20.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I'm gonna be pretty annoyed the rest of the year watching a good fighter.
If you're Al Hammond, you want to do that because you know that Broner is your cash cow. And as much as you love Enos doesn't have that mouthpiece. He's a young kid he's happy to be on the stage now. He doesn't have that person. He has a young, good personality. He doesn't have the boxer personality yet that Broner has. So I'm just saying, from an Al Hammond standpoint, you make a lot of money off Broner. You're like, if I give Enos to Broner, man, Broner is going to retirement. It's over for him.
No, seriously. You know how many fans will jump on Enos right now if he beats the shit out of Broner and stuff?
Man.
Come on, there'll be a lot of fans. You'll be a whole new shitload of fans, casual and boxing fan alike, hardcore fan alike, who would love to see that. Who would love to see that. Look, Maidana was the same way. Maidana beat the shit out of Broner. That man gained star status so quick. He ended up fighting Floyd Mayweather.
They got him 2 Floyd fights.
Exactly. So to me, Enos no different. I don't need Enos to be a big man. I just need him to beat Broner's ass, and that would be just fine for me. I'm already on board.
Yeah, I know, but
now
you know what though? Broner be like, I need $10 million for this fight. And I don't blame Broner because this is going to be he is not going to be the same after that fight. So he who could stop. I mean, literally, if we look at the top, if you start naming names, top 15, top 20, he beats anybody in the top 11 to 20. If you throw it out there, he beats him exactly. Yeah, so, and then if we look at Mikey Garcia, he beats him. Virgil Ortiz,
I think he beats him too.
50-50. I can say it's 50-50 fight. I'm high on Virgil Ortiz. Not high, but I like him, but I would favor Enos. But I'd make that a 50-50 fight because they're both young, right?
The Enos that came in the ring the other night. Mm-hmm. Yes, would be Virgil Ortiz.
I would favor it, but still make it a 50-50 fight. That's what I'm saying.
Sure.
But Danny Garcia, he beats Danny Garcia.
Yeah.
You guys, I think that'd be a tough fight for him. For you guys, I've seen you guys. I thought he beat Sean Porter. I'm gonna state that again. You guys, I thought he beat Sean Porter. Porter got the gift win that Joe Smith got this weekend.
Okay,
that's the same thing, like that.
Same
so
category,
then if I look at, matter of fact, I'm not trying to jump the gun here. I'm looking at this list here, and the only people that I can see that can beat Enos right now is Spence, Crawford, Pacquiao, and Porter.
Yeah. So to me,
and in about 2 years, I would say that it's a 50-50 fight for all. And matter of fact, by next year, he could clean out Manny. I'm saying Manny right now because the way he looked, but next year, because how big he is, I think he would destroy Manny. And then in about a year and a half, I would say it's 50-50, or he could beat all these guys.
I would say
that's how high I'm on Enos. I am that high.
That's what I'm saying. I'd be more. I'd be even higher on that, honestly, because most of these are good. 2 years from now, the man's gonna be 25 years old. Most guys are gonna be in their mid-30s and stuff.
They're already in their 30s. Bud and Spence are in their 30s already.
Exactly. So they'll be in their mid-30s.
Porter's already in his 30s already too. Yeah, exactly. Manny's in 43.
Exactly. So
Thurman's in his 30s. Danny Garcia's in his 30s. Everybody's in their 30s except for Virgil Ortiz.
So to me, so that's what I'm saying. For me, Enos is gonna be fighting guys they're into their career and stuff. To me,
that's why he's not going to get these guys.
And that, to me, the most exciting person he gets to fight right now is Virgil Ortiz. That's the guy. That's actually the fight I'd rather see right now.
The problem is he's on Golden.
And so to my now, so welterweight, as nice as it sounds and looks, it sucks to me. It really sucks. It's not the. It's my
good. It's good and bad. How about it's good and bad?
It's good on paper. Mm-hmm. It's bad situation all the way around, and I can't stand it because I love the welterweight division. It was my division growing up as a kid watching fights. Mm-hmm. It was like that. Through our heyday when we first met and stuff, welterweight was our entire era right there. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's more personal for me, and it kind of pisses me off that we're in the situation right now where just you send me the text, who's going to duck him now at welterweight. You sent me that text first, and I said, you know what, you're right.
And here's the thing too: everybody knows I'm a big Errol Spence fan. I am huge. I met him when he was a prospect, younger than Enos. And as much as I can say that, hey, throw me under the bus, I'm a fanboy for Errol Spence, I don't see my man fighting him right now. Like, he's going to get the third title, if he beats you guys. And then the money fight, hopefully he fights. And, like, the main thing, we want him to fight Crawford, and if he fights Crawford and he has all the 4 belts, he has nothing to prove at welterweight then. And then he would just leave and go to junior middleweight. And who knows if he had the fight with the Charles. I know they're best friends. I don't see that happening because he trains with one of them. They had the same trainer, so I don't know how that goes. But maybe the other Charles goes to 160 when he goes 154. They got this whole thing planned out. But as much as I love Spence, man, Enos is. I have a very good eye for young talent. I've noticed for boxers, and I am buying stock on Enos. I bought stock already, but I'm literally taking the stimulus check and I'm taking the whole check on Ennis. That's how I feel about it.
Look, I buy stock in them. What I'm not excited about is that once these guys get a little bit more past their prime and stuff, and they're on their way out to the end of their career and stuff, there's not going to be a lot of fights. Welterweight's going to dry up at a point where Ennis becomes the man, and it'll
recycle, though. We see it all the time. We worry that what's going to happen then next, the sport brings new guys that we're following, because otherwise we wouldn't be following the sport now.
Agreed. But there's certain times you can see it right now, where the lightweight division is right now, where it's kind of, it's where all the potential fights could be made, but nobody's freaking fighting each other. This is kind of like basically what it is right now, but this is all based on business, why they're not fighting each other, it sucks, pisses me off.
But I'm buying stock on Ennis. He is the next up and coming welterweight. I said it. He is. He's going to be a future title holder. I am putting that stock there. He's going to be the top man in welterweight in the next few years. I'm putting that, barring injuries or him catching a case or doing some crazy janky stuff.
Don't do anything stupid.
It's boxing, so we got to put that out there.
Yeah, as long as there's nothing stupid, he'll be fine. We can talk to the same broker, get some stock on that guy, because I'm high on him as well. He looks very promising and stuff. Just, wish he was more lined up for better fights in the future than what's going on.
Yeah. So let's transition to our next subject here. This is actually going to go to our last episode, Jorge. This is actually more a personal discussion.
I know where we're going.
Personal people here for our new subscribers. If a lot of new subscribers came because of the last few shows that we dropped. We were talking about Teofimo Lopez, and we dropped the whole episode, and then I did some editing and chopped up a portion about was Bob Arum being petty to Teofimo Lopez. And I will put that right up here as I'm pointing here when I edit this video, and so you can click on that here. And for all the Boxing Now fans, this video has been our most commented and crazy hated video of all time.
How does it feel to be ratioed, man? Happy ratio day to you, my friend.
To you too. This ain't all about me, it's about you too.
I said we're in this together. I said to you.
Come on, man.
We're sharing it together.
Share alike, baby.
Hey, look, I had a nice, it was a nice warm feeling in my heart that we got ratioed.
Man, so just let everybody.
I appreciate it. I asked for it. I said, like or dislike. Tell us why you dislike.
Mm-hmm.
You provide some comments and stuff. I'll take it. I'll run with it. That's what I wanted, right? Because at least I want to be able to have some dialogue with our listeners.
Mm-hmm. So,
but unfortunately, some of those listeners like to delete their comments, which bugs the hell out of me. And actually, were pretty funny. The ones that you were rattling off to me, that had me cracking up on the text.
Sorry, I'm trying to get my iPad together. But let me just level set here. We had several comments, and why are y'all deleting comments, people? If you felt that personal about what me and Papo said, keep them on there, because I still get the notifications and I still see what you said. One comment actually said, I don't know if it was directed toward me or you, to tell us to get off Bob Arum's tit. Damn. I mean, he is 90, so he does probably got saggy titties.
You couldn't even tell me if a left or a right tit. Come on, at least give me at least the details on which tit you want me to get off of. What the fuck?
Yeah, so another comment was telling us to, we stopped making videos.
Oh, that one made me laugh too, because your response was hilarious.
Yeah. I was like, hey, I literally dropped like 2 more videos after that, and I said, hey, if you don't like it, don't watch. Another person was calling us cornballs.
All right.
I just want to ask people, what did me or Papo say that was wrong? Because Lopez is trying to fight on June 5th. And if Bud Crawford and Manny Pacquiao happens on June 5th, who in the boxing world is ordering Teofimo Lopez's fight outside of Teofimo Lopez's family and friends? And I think they might buy the other fight too as well. Because they're going to be at the fight, so they probably won't be buying the fight.
Yeah, I mean, because price tags matter. I mean, sometimes, if you have the money to buy both, but which one are you going to watch, right? You can buy both, but which one are you going to watch? Which one are you going to spend the time watching, right? Which one are you going to TiVo, and which one you're going to put your eyeballs on and stuff. And at the end of the day, if I'm paying for both the same day, I'm watching the Pacquiao fight with Crawford, and I'm TiVoing the other one. I'll watch you on Saturday night. I'll catch you Sunday morning. That's just real. That's just being real, folks.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Hey, I've been high on Teofimo since he beat Lomachenko. Watch any of the past episodes and especially our earliest shows and stuff. I'm high on Teofimo. I think he's a great fighter.
High is an understatement. Besides that last segment, every single segment or show about Teofimo Lopez has been 100% positive.
Exactly.
Positive. And that this is what killed me about boxing fans. I thought it was just a few barbershops that I attended over my youth and years where that I've always been the boxing guy, right? I come in, I talk boxing, I know I'm talking about. People would debate me. And of course, they will say I'm wrong at times because they're personal about it. And then I'll come back weeks or months later and like, hey, wasn't I right? You know, because I know boxing. Like other guys may know basketball, football. I was the boxing guy. And I come to realize that doing this podcast here, everybody's like the barbershops. There's only so many people that are very knowledgeable about the sport who follow it like us diehards, and because the way the sport is lined up. And then everybody else is casuals who don't know jack about boxing, like the skit that Kevin Hart did with Roger Mayweather, you know, talking about people don't know.
You don't know shit about boxing.
It is a fact because I'm just trying to figure out every negative comment. I literally posted on the page. I'm like, hey guys, what did we say that was often wrong besides you guys being emotional? Because you guys are acting very Eric Benet, very emotional right now. You know, if you don't know who Eric Benet is, look him up. He's Halle Berry's ex-husband. Very emotional. That's how y'all acting right now.
Yeah, just like I said, I always said, like, dislike, provide us some feedback. Something we can have some dialogue on the chat. I love
the comment and chat with you guys, but just if you're gonna cut, here's what I'm gonna say.
I'm cut and run.
If you're gonna drop a comment, stand by it. I still got the notifications. Matter of fact, I might just go pull up the comments and then look for y'all page and then hit y'all up because I still have them saved here. Just because you delete it don't mean the owner don't see it. So if y'all don't like it, then don't comment. But stand by your word if you think that. And then for the people that call us cornballs, what we're talking about, I just want to ask, what did we say that was wrong? Literally, the point that we were bringing out is the fact that Teofimo Lopez got his money. We did a whole episode called He Got the Bag. We were happy for him. Bob Arum offered $2 million for this mandatory fight. And then Eddie Hearn, he would have got $3 million if he rocked with Eddie Hearn. But then Thriller came in and dropped $6 million and $18,000 on it.
Yeah, good for him.
You knew you figured out the landscape. You figured out that there was another player in town that wasn't in town last year and they cut a check. Hey, I'm happy for you. But why is it in business? You know, people don't understand that at the end of the day, you still got to rock with the guys you got to rock with. And you have a business relationship and being personal. Here's one thing I want to bring out. Teofimo Lopez, him and his dad are being personal in their attacks to Bob Arum. You won. You got the purse bid and got paid. So it's all about promoting. There's different ways of promoting than going after your boss. And that's the point I'm saying, though, because you're having a fight till June 5th. If Manny Pacquiao and Terrence Crawford is finalized on June 5th, you're not going to be fighting on pay-per-view no time soon unless it's another A side. You're not going to be able to carry it on the pay-per-view unless Thriller's going to overpay again. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole different ballgame if Thriller's going to overpay. Get your money. But if you're going by the merits without Thriller for pay-per-view, it ain't going to happen. Because if Manny Pacquiao and Bud happen, it's going to drive all the subscription buys to that boxing pay-per-view that night. I'm not even thinking of Teofimo Lopez and Thriller and Justin Bieber and everybody who's going to be performing that night. I'm worried about if Bud is going to retire Manny or if Manny got anything left in the tank to fight Spence by next year. That's literally what I'm literally looking at storylines already. Does he retire Manny and does he get a chance to finally say, hey, I'm worthy 50-50 against Spence? Or if he turns back the clock again and beats Bud and says, you know what? I got one more paycheck in me to go after Spence now. That's the storyline, people. And Lopez is not there if that fight happens June 5th. So where am I wrong?
So I, you know, to kind of backtrack a bit, where were you guys when we were praising Teofimo?
Oh,
where
were
the comments? Where were the comments for Teofimo? Look, at the end of the day,
were we on Bob Arum's tit then when we said he got the bag and he recognized it and said, "Yo, Arum 2, we got this 6 now."
so like I said, look. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate the
dislikes.
All your
it's
comments.
Funny.
I appreciate it. I want them. Keep them coming. But let's have a dialogue. And then if you think we're wrong, go to our channel, visit the prior episode, go to the archives. They're there. You'll see everything we've ever said positive about Teofimo, especially after he beat Lomachenko. Look, the man deserves a praise where praise is due. This video was nothing about Teofimo doing anything bad. This is about being Bob Arum, being petty. From a business point of view, he took the business side and said, I'm going to be petty with this possible June fight announcement of the fight.
Exactly.
So to me, that is where the comments didn't make sense with the video itself, right?
You didn't listen. Here's what I noticed. You're fanboys of Teofimo Lopez. You heard negativity or the tone negative, and you all man went defensive without even listening or paid attention, or maybe you listened, didn't care. You just rock up that dude. And that's a lot of boxing fans. And that was going on heavy during the Manny Floyd era. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could admit that, like, I'm a Floyd Mayweather fan, right? But I've always been on the record that both of them, Floyd and Al Heyman and Manny and Bob Arum, were the reasons it didn't happen. It wasn't one-sided. It was maybe in 2010, it was all Floyd. And then in 2011, it was all Manny. Until it went back and forth. But you never saw me saying, oh, it don't matter because it's all about Floyd, blah, blah, blah. You don't know it's man. I was like, no, I'd never been that way. I'm never going to be a fanboy where I see something and to be like, oh, you're on this tit. Tell us what we said was wrong. That's all I'm saying. Like, I love debate and the banter with the people. If y'all gonna call me out and say I'm a cornball, hey, that's funny, man. Just tell me why I was a cornball and what I said was wrong. And if you say that, and if I'm wrong, I'll own it. But like, you know what? I was a cornball. Y'all got me. But if you tell me I'm a cornball and then get mad, and then you're saying that what's going on with Shakira. Oh, one other point too. One of the comments, they were saying that Bob Arum was violating Shakira Stevenson. First of all, people, this all stemmed from the rankings and on the TV screen last week, right? And didn't have Shakira Stevenson in the top 10 of their TV rankings.
Sure.
If you go to ESPN, Shakira's ranked number 3 on the website, which matters. What happened, though, is that the production forgot to add Shakira Stevenson, the graphics on the screen. Now, some people may say that's Bob Arum and that's ESPN. I've seen even other videos. I'm not going to name their the channels who are saying that this is Bob Arum and ESPN disrespecting Shakira Stevenson. I'm like, no, that's their own guy. They make money off. It's not doing that. Exactly. If you follow ESPN, their graphics department is always effing up all the time. I literally watched football, I don't know how many times this year, and saw the graphics department wrong on Sunday footballs. I seen the graphics wrong 2 weeks ago for NBA basketball. And then, as a matter of fact, I saw graphics wrong last year for boxing events.
Center gets it wrong all the time. All the time,
so,
for years, decades of this stuff.
So here's I've seen several arguments back and forth. I'm not going to get into it this pod here, but ESPN is not disrespecting Shakira Stevenson. I can understand how people may feel about black boxers and slick fighters like him, and how black people have been, treated a certain way, especially in the boxing game. But I've seen numerous times. This is just the ESPN graphics department making an effed up situation. What matters is that he is on ESPN.com and all the rankings ranked number 3.
Exactly. And that's the number.
And here's the thing. I ain't mad. And here's the thing. Shakira Stevenson, you're supposed to be mad. ESPN messed up. So holler at them. So whoever works the graphics department gets suspended so they can do their job right.
Exactly. And hold somebody accountable, right? If you got to hold them accountable so they can hold somebody accountable stuff. Let the fans do it for you. And one more thing I wanted to backtrack to the point about listening stuff. My dad said something to me back when I was growing up and stuff. He's like, you know what? Listening's a skill, son. That is absolutely right. Shout out to my pops right there. Listening is a skill. So listen to the video, listen to it wisely, and listen to everything in our archives if you're unsure about how we feel about a certain fighter and stuff. And then come holler at us in the comment section and stuff. And do dialogue with us. Don't delete the comments.
Yeah.
Let's have the dialogue. Let's talk it out.
Here's the thing. I was just going to comment on people saying we're cornballs and laughing at it, but with the deleted comments, that's what made me want to talk about this here, because we're going to keep doing this show here, and we know we're going to have shows we're going to be so positive with that. No, I mean, we're going to
ruffle feathers.
Yeah, and then there's going to be times we ruffle feathers, right? I'm just saying that if you're going to comment, just stick to your guns and just drop those lines and stick with it. I respect y'all, because you know what's going to happen? I'm a troll. I know the people who delete it now. I'm going to come after y'all and say, you know what? Repost it. I want to see y'all man enough to me come out and want to see how bold you are to repost it. And then I'm going to respond back to you. You had time to watch it. So that's all I wanted to say on that. I just think that's funny how boxing fans can be that way, man. Like, yo, you literally just gonna think we're just riding for Bob Arum like that? No. How many times have I dogged Bob Arum? I respect him as a businessman, but when he's wrong, he's wrong.
And like I said in the last podcast, look, at the end of the day, whether you hate him or love him or hate him, he's still boxing royalty. He's been around for decades. He's not going anywhere.
And here's the thing. He F's up too, and I'll call him out when he F's up. Yep. I admitted that he's even admitted. I talked about the Floyd Mayweather situation when Floyd bought his contract for $600,000-$700,000 and how he was trying to promote him like Sugar Ray Leonard, and it failed. It failed miserably. So we'll call him out when we call him out. But we called out Lopez for bad business, not being a bad fighter.
Exactly.
That was the point.
Two different things there, guys.
Yeah. So on that note, Jorge, we're going to close out here, man. Well, I wanted to talk longer on that, but the Jaron Ennis talk got a little bit longer.
No. Because I think that now that we kind of dived in a little bit deeper there was some more stuff we actually talked about that made more sense there.
But for future boxing fans, leave the comments. We will interact with it. Don't think we want to. And here's the thing: we won't be disrespectful. We'll keep it clean. But if y'all could be dirty, and we'll come at y'all too. But just leave the comments there. I respect y'all. Just leave them there. Don't delete them.
Yep. If we got to hold on to, or if our stuff lives out there forever in the ether, so do yours.
Mm-hmm.
Just be upfront with like we are.
So on that note, people, we're about to get out of here. So click on like and subscribe, hit the bell notification for YouTube. If on the other audio podcast, also subscribe, give us 5 stars. Don't give us 4 stars. We'll think you're a hater. You know what I'm saying? Also, too, check me out on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Central Time on YouTube as well. Jump Off Lives, the other podcasts we do with my fellas JD, John, and Jeff Smith here. Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Jorge, what you got?
Live_Dominoes is the Twitch channel you can find on Twitch. Wednesdays, we take the show on the road. We're in Chicago, PL Lounge, 3456 North Pulaski. Stream starts at 8 p.m. Central. You can get there as early as 6 o'clock to grab drinks, food, mingle with the crowd, play some dominoes, and get into the stream, hopefully. And then on Thursdays and Saturdays at our usual location, La Taberna, at 8 p.m. Central, Thursdays and Saturdays. So, see us, look for us there, Live_Dominoes.
Yeah, so we're going to close out here for BNP Boxing Now podcast. We'll be back with more episodes in the next week or so. So just keep following us. You're going to see the full podcast. You'll see the clips as well. So for Papo, I'm that dude named Dave, and we'll be back next time. Check you later, people. And for the haters, Lopez fans, we'll check for y'all too.
Stay safe, guys. Thank you.